Hey guys, it's Jennifer, Tom, and Adam with the Office 365 Pulse. We have just a few updates today for the Microsoft 365 roadmap. We're going to go through in development, rolling out, and launched. We don't have anything in cancel today. So in development, remember that means that we're back in Redmond or wherever Microsoft is working. They're in the factory making the sausage. They're designing how it should be. They're trying to figure it out. They're working on it. That lets us know it is coming and we should be looking for it. We should be expecting it to hit first release or targeted release within the near future. Rolling out means it has started to hit targeted release. Now, remember, targeted release is going to mean that it's going to roll out in phases to everyone who is elected to have targeted release. So that means that if I'm on targeted release and Tom is and Adam is, we're going to be potentially on different tenants, and therefore we may get it at different times. So when it's rolling out, that means you're going to be getting it soon if you're on a targeted release tenant. And once we hit the launch status, that means it is good to go. Everyone has it in general availability. So I'm going to pass it over to the team. And let's see, Adam, you get to go first today, man. What do you have that is in development that is of interest to you?
Sure. So I'm going to do one that's probably going to directly steal from Tom. So Tom, I apologize for you. But I thought it was cool. They actually had one about reusing historical information for forms.
Darn it.
See, I told you. So this is one that I actually like. So I've used forms in kind of an interesting way. I think forms is great and a lot of people can do it, but I've used forms a lot of times personally, like when I go and do on-site training for a client, or when I go through and I do like a webinar or something like that, or I do a talk at a conference and I want to get feedback from the people that I'm going through and doing. But I want unique forms for every time I go, because I want that, how did I do on this presentation? How did I do on this, conference, whatever it is. So I'm basically find myself recreating similar, maybe not identical, but similar forms over and over and over again. Well, basically what they announce is if you're someone who uses forms for you personally, so it's not tenant-wide, but for you as an individual, it's going to basically start caching/predicting what your questions can be. So for someone like me who's always going through and asking, like, oh, did you learn anything new? Like, did you like it? Did you like the presentation? Like, do you like the same type of questions I ask over and over again at all the conferences I go to? It'll basically start predicting that for me, basically just saving me some time, making it a little bit easier, which I thought was absolutely great. So happy to see that. That was one of those things that I didn't know that I wanted, but now that I saw it, I think it's cool.
I didn't know I wanted it until you told me I did.
Yes, so I thought that was cool and happy to see. And there's actually even some other stuff going on with forms too, but I'm gonna stop there. So if Tom has anything he wants to talk about, I'm sharing.
Well, yeah, I'm going to be lost for the rest of in development here because the rest is all GCC. But yeah, I looked at it as like when you've got fields out there that you're doing in a form, and you start to type something, you type a letter, and it gives you all the options that start with that letter. I look at this as being very similar in the fact that, hey, if I've asked this, how did I do this question? Then if I type in how, it's going to give me the choices that I've done in the past or something similar to that. So yeah, I agree with you. I think this was a fantastic move, and I'm really anxious to see how it works out once they get it rolled out. So
yeah, I think this is going to be one of those things that they refer to as a delighter. Yes. So it's something that I probably, just like Adam said, I didn't know I needed it until you gave it to me, and now I don't ever want to live without it. And it just delights me and makes me happy. So that's going to be one that's just going to make it so super easy for end users to work with, because if you save me clicks and you save me typing, I am going to be happy. Well, I'll take a couple of some of the other ones that we have coming out. One that I am super excited about, and again, this week, GCC and DoD get some love. So in development, we are seeing that My Analytics and the My Analytics email, so the My Analytics dashboard and the My Analytics email is in development for GCC. Now, that's going to be all of the stuff where you get to say, hey, you're working too much, you're working after hours, who are you collaborating with, what are you doing? Hey, Jennifer, maybe you should take a break. Like today, I had meetings from roughly 8:30 to, now I'm a little tired. Maybe I shouldn't do that. So I'm really excited about seeing that for GCC. I know that's something that I really like in the enterprise suite. So that is in development for GCC. And then in DoD, y'all, Microsoft Planner is coming. So I know DoD folks, I know you guys have been waiting for that. So Microsoft Planner is in development for DoD. And other than that, guys, I didn't really see anything else on the rolling out, or I'm sorry, on the in development. So we can move to rolling out. And Tom, since we stole all your thunder, we'll let you go first in rolling out.
Thank you. Only problem is there's not one I can see here that I could logically make enough words come together to steal something from Adam. So hey, there's two on the list here that I found interesting that I'm looking forward to working with. One is the Teams meeting recording tab. I know a lot of people have talked about, well, I recorded a meeting in Teams, but I don't know how to find it. And it's really hard trying to work with them to get them to understand where it is or where it might be and how do I quickly find it. Having a tab that has that stuff in there, I think will be huge because it will just make it a whole lot easier for people to say, hey, I'm going to put this out in Stream, or this is out in Stream, and they'll start to think of Stream as a destination place rather than, well, it's out there somewhere in the background. It's like, no, it's a major thing. So that one I like. I'm also really thrilled about the comments and notifications on non-Office files for SharePoint Online and OneDrive for Business. And the fact that you can now add comments to your files as part of your review process, which is something we've been able to do with the Office files and keep comments and it becomes part of the document. But you've not been able to do it for things like CAD drawings, photos, PDFs. Now you're going to be able to do that. And I think that the more context and metadata that you can add to a file, regardless of what it is huge because that then stays with the file and you don't have to worry about keeping notes somewhere else. And I know the notes, locations, but you don't. And it just keeps all that information together and makes it a much more rich experience for working with the document.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, one that I see on the list is updated mobile for OneDrive. So in OneDrive, the updated recent view. So if you're using OneDrive mobile, in the recent view, that view is getting updated. So if that's something that's annoying to you, especially when you're navigating between PDFs, a new view for that is rolling out that is supposed to be more user-friendly and a nice, richer experience. So, that's going to be one of those things where if you have one of those users that's just like, this bothers me, this bothers me, this bothers me, I might have just made your day because that's rolling out. Or it could be one of those features that, if you are constantly going between PDFs and the experience just isn't good, I could have just made your day. So that is one that is rolling out. So be looking for that. You should be seeing it pretty soon. And then also there's some OneDrive mobile updates coming to the iOS app. So Adam, is there anything else? I think we may have covered everything. I think we may have. I'm sorry, friends.
I have a very nerdy one, but I'm going to first extend an olive branch to Tom because I took the original Forms one. There was one on there that I read that I thought was like Tom to a T. So I'm gonna pause and bring it back. Tom, would you like to talk about the Meetings tab that's coming out to Streams when people record meetings, and then I'll maybe add some commentary onto it?
Gee, there's a new thing coming out, which is the Teams meeting recording tab that we would really love to be able to see easily what recordings you've created in your Teams workspace without having to try to figure out or ask your local SharePoint expert where these might be stored at. What do you think about that, Adam?
Well, I actually do think this is cool. Jen and I's team is entirely remote. Right now, I don't think we record our team meetings, but I could definitely see, especially as our team grows, that could be something valuable. If you have a remote team that people are spread out, basically what this is doing is, hey, if you're recording meetings in Teams, now that Stream is a fundamental part of what you're doing in Teams, it's basically by default throwing them in there. So imagine if you have a group of, 12, 15 people. Well, if one of them's out, you can just record the meeting and they know exactly where to go through and get it. So thought that it was cool that it was coming through there. Tom loves Stream, so it's kind of why I was throwing that out there and poking at him a little bit. But I will say too,
really
I've briefly talked on this in the past. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but they are rolling it out now. I think I talked about it when they first announced that they were working on it. But they are doing enhanced filtering for Exchange connectors. I'm not going to nerd out too hard here, but if you are going through and doing a somewhat complicated email setup, primarily this becomes relevant when you are using a third-party filtering system. Say you have Ironport or Proofpoint or something like that that is scanning your mail other than Exchange Online Protection. Well, if you're doing that, your MX records don't point it off as 365. This makes it quite a bit more complicated how mail is handed off, what mail you should trust, stuff like that. They are doing this enhanced filtering to basically make it easier to understand where the original source of messages are coming through and what is trusted. So especially if you're one of those large organizations, you have a hybrid setup, you have these third-party systems that you just, for whatever reason, like the experience better than Exchange Online. They're basically doing stuff to make it easier for you to understand what's going on, to consume it, and to be confident in what you're doing. And as someone who's worked, like, this has been a large portion of my life, so someone who's spent a lot of time working on that, it's cool to see them working on improvements.
Yes, awesome. Yes, that was a great thing, Adam. Great, I love it.
Goodness. And then we'll go with the launch category. I'm going to go the one that has saved my bacon a few times, and that would be the recycle bin. So Microsoft Stream is going to have the recycle bin. So Microsoft Stream videos will be saved in the recycle bin for 30 days after initial deletion. So I accidentally delete stuff all the time. It's just a superpower that I have. So I'm glad that we have a recycle bin. Saves my bacon, gets me my stuff back. So I'm excited about that one. So that one's coming. And then the last one, does anyone want to take the last one in the launch category there?
I think I've seen this one in my tenant, or I've seen something that resembles it, and I like it a lot anyway. Where Outlook on the web is now doing suggested attachments. So when you're starting to work on an email, instead of you having to go out and dig through and find the attachment that you think you want, Outlook is going to try to help you by giving you a list of relevant files that it may want to have added to the email. So not
that's
saying that that's your only choice, but it makes it that much easier when you're, I'm usually looking at my Windows folder, and I've got like the documents folder that's on my computer, and I have the documents folder on my OneDrive, and I always select the wrong one. It's like, where's the file I wanted to? No, this will just allow, you want this? Yeah, give me that file. I don't want to figure out where it's at.
So this experience has been what's been on the desktop suite if you have like a Pro Plus version from Office 365 for a while. And it's funny because once you get used to it, like, you don't know how you lived without it. Like, exactly. Once you go through and you need to add a file and it's not on the suggested files list, you're just like, wait, what? Like, wait, what? Like, where is this? What do I have to do? So cool to see them bringing it to the online version. Definitely a neat thing. I also think it's worth calling out, just because props to Jen for the hard work that she did. She always correlates wonderful information for us. That's when you see us, reading, going through. Jen does a wonderful job going through and curating what's coming in the roadmap and putting it into a digestible form for us.
There's more.
Yeah, so she's worked her butt off even with all of our meetings today, and she's actually put it together in a pretty digestible form that she'll be publishing along with our video. So that way, if you guys want to see the updates that are coming from the roadmap directly from the roadmap that are different, and kind of what we're seeing when we reference. So just huge shout out to Jen. She would probably not give herself credit. So Tom and I've appreciated it for a long time.
But thanks.
So, yeah.
We will, because it's an awesome layout.
Oh, well, I am happy to share it with everybody. If we're going to take the time to do it, we might as well share it. So it's been great, everybody. Next week, I think it's just going to be Tom and I, because Adam has decided to go on vacation and have a good time. So we will have fun with that, and hopefully you guys enjoy the show. This might be our quickest yet, but thanks, everybody. Have a good week. See you later. Thanks.
Bye, guys.